This artifact to me, I think every time I've had to do a story I've talked about, um, the combination of my ADHD and education, because um, because before being able to go back to school, I just felt trapped. I felt like I wanted to learn so much, and there was so much to learn. And I went to the libraries, like I'm not saying at all that the only place that you can get an education is in higher education. But for me, I knew that that was something that I wanted to do because I wanted to have the type of dialogue and discourse that you could have in higher education at that time. And I didn't have any other places to have that. And so I felt trapped. Um, and the reason I couldn't go into higher education is because I have flunked out of school so many times. Um, because when I went to school, right out of high school, I went to Carbondale. I'm not from this area, but I went to SIU. And SIU was really amazing to me. And I don't say this in all the rooms, but it was the first time that I had ever been called the N word. And I grew up in the all black town of Robbins, Illinois. And there was just a measure of protection around me. Like it was, um, there was insanity in there. It was a small town. Everybody knew each other. Half of us were related to each other. But there was also this safety net. And that helped with my ADHD because in high school, it didn't manifest. Like I knew that there were pieces that I was missing because I was so good in certain areas and so not good in other areas. But it really didn't matter. It just kind of evened out. But then when I got to university, it was no longer evening out. And it showed up in ways like I couldn't find my way to like a big university. Like the university had more people than my town had in it. And so, finding my way from building to building was hard. And this is before GPS and cell phones. Keeping up with my homework was impossible. Keeping up with my books was insane. And then just being a black child on that campus and being very disconnected, like many of the other black people who came to the school at that time. They were in fraternities or sororities, or they were athletes or musicians, and I didn't have any of that. I spent my whole life prior to that in church, and so there was not any church group except white church groups that were like, hey, come on. But there was not the same protective factor in those white church groups. And so I fell off and I flunked out. And I repeated that pattern over and over and over again. Thank you. And then the technology helped. Technology caught up with my disability. And I was able to do all of these things. It was no longer a barrier for me to get around. It was no longer a barrier for me to hold on to books or to hold on to homework or to hold on to anything because it could all be housed